Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia. I hope you've all had a sensational week as I have. It's spring here and we've been getting some really beautiful spring weather, some really nice days and an afternoon thunderstorm, and that sort of always clears the air. But I know many of you probably haven't had as an exciting and buoyant week as I've had, but I'm so pleased you could join us tonight here. It is a very interesting time astrologically, and we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. But I just want to thank everybody for all your lovely messages and your inboxes and things like that, and always sharing your stories with me. It does make me feel very important and very special and to be part of your life. And, you know, it's always nice from our point of view as a psychic or a healer, when you get little messages in your inbox that says, that really resonated with me, thank you, that helped me. I was really feeling down, I was really feeling lost, and just, you know, tuning into what you were saying really made sense to me and gave me a reason to keep going. And that's the reward. It's not the financial side of life. I mean, we all need finances to live. I understand that. But it's those sort of little personal messages, heartfelt messages that come from you guys that really make our job worthwhile. So a big thank you and a big hug to everybody out there tonight on wherever you're watching from around the globe. So we're going to kick off the show as we always do with the Simply Tarot card of the week. And this week it is the Three of Pentacles. Now, the Three of Pentacles is a sort of an ambiguous card because it is talking about improvements underway. And that can be in any area of our lives, not just finances. It can be in every area. But it's also making us aware of, but there's delays around it. So even though there's improvements coming, we've still got a short delay. We've got to hold our breath a little bit longer and say, okay, things will improve, but they're improving slowly. Now, the secondary meaning of this card, which might sound ambiguous to some people, is it's the card of renowned glory or a place of worship. Now, what do I mean by renowned glory? Renowned glory to me is the highest point that we can achieve in a project or a situation or a relationship. We can't go any higher. It's like we've reached the top of our Mount Everest. So there may be some people out there that are saying, yes, I resonate with that part of the card. The rest of it doesn't mean anything to me. That's fine. It's got, you know, 3 sections to this card. So for each person, there'll be something a little bit more personal that they can take out of it. And some people may be feeling like they need to go to their place of worship, whether it's an Orthodox church, whether it's an unorthodox church, whether it's just their place of meditation or somewhere that they feel comfortable. So that's our card of the week. So each week we do have a little glimpse around the universe. And this week I'm not necessarily going to take you for a glimpse around the universe because I really want to focus our little bit of time that we've got talking about the new moon in Libra. Because, you know, even though it is our candles of the week being the new moon and in the sign of Libra, I want to focus on the new moon in Libra energy. The new moon in Libra energy is almost like a time where we can reset things in our lives. People sort of get very confused, I think, when we start talking Libra. They automatically think of these scales going seesawing up and down and sort of no balance in their life, and that the Librian person or the Librian energy can never ever find some sort of balance or scales in their life. And that's not exactly true, because what the Librian energy is about, and I spoke about this briefly last week, is about searching for the truth. So it's about researching or listening very carefully to everything that's being shared with us, whether it's coming from a personal conversation, a text, an email, through a YouTube clip, something on social media, or whether it's something that we might be watching on the television, and we could be watching our favourite program and then all of a sudden a particular line or a couple of words are illuminated and we think, yes, that's the answer that I've been looking for. And this is how the Librian energy can work, and particularly more so now that we're talking about the new moon. Now, the new moon is always the time of the month where we can start to co-create something new in our lives. Now, I always sort of suggest about writing a little list out. And if you've watched the show before, you know I like to work in a 7-day cycle for the moon. And let's be very clear, we've already had today in most parts of the world, particularly the Northern Hemisphere, is the 9th. Where here in Australia, it's the 10th. So the new moon is actually starting on the 9th. So we would have had 2 days leading into that from about the 7th to the new moon going from the 9, 10 and 11. So we're right in the middle of this new moon energy, and then allow 2 days to taper off 12 and 13. So new things. What new things are we trying to bring into our life? Now, for some people, it might be the resetting of goals that we already started much earlier in the year. And it's like, let's give them a fresh approach. Let's give them a fresh new outlook. You know, we may be approaching it in a different way, or we may be about to approach it in a different way. So that's sort of resetting it, isn't it? It's sort of almost like rebooting the computer and starting again. Well, if you look at, maybe there might be 2 or 3 things in your life that you need to reboot like that, to restart, this is the perfect time to put that down on your list. Now, as we work with new energies and we're supposedly drawing new things to us, it's not always the time where people look at releasing. But it's interesting because I always sort of work upon the score with a new moon. Yes, it's predominantly about attracting new and what we want to attract in our lives in the next month to 12 months. It can also be a time when maybe there's something that we didn't release at the full moon that we think, oh, gee, I don't really want to wait until the next full moon in 2 weeks' time. I might pop that on my list and just release that now because it's blocking my attraction of new. So if it's something that's standing in the way of attracting your new stuff to you, or rebooting your project again for a fresh start because you need to release something, then by all means release it on the new moon as well. Because the new moon is also technically known in astrology terms as the dark moon. So it's not, you know, even though it is a new moon, why would they call it a dark moon? That's just the way they do. And it's just sort of, so many different labels get put on things that I think we can all get a little bit bamboozled about what's what and who's this moon and what does that moon mean. If you just do what feels right to you, regardless of what anybody else teaches you, if it feels right for you to put your crystals out under the new moon and everybody else says don't do it, well, then you do what feels right for you. I've always worked upon the score that knowledge is only a guideline. We still have to follow what feels right in our soul, or what our psychic ability or our natural instincts or our gut reaction is telling us, our feeling in the pit of our stomach. So if you work along those scores, you can never be wrong. We don't always have to be the same as everybody else and follow what everybody else says. So, okay, you've written your little list for the new moon. So what would we do? So if you were fortunate enough to have one of my new moon candles, this is a new moon candle. It's an extra large candle. It will burn for about 50 to 60 hours. And if you were to light one wick one day and light the other wick the next day, you would then sort of find that you would get up to about 100-hour burn time out of an extra large candle. So that makes it a very, very economical candle to have in your, you know, your toolkit for things that you work with throughout the year. I personally, this is one of my favourites, probably because it's French vanilla and I really like the smell of French vanilla. But the new moon always to me represents excitement, anticipation of new opportunities, new things coming into my life. And I'm a Sagittarian and I'm always full of optimism. So when the new moon comes around, I always think it's a time that we can reboot our lives and recommence things that maybe got a little bit lost in the last month with, you know, so many other busy things in our lives. So we've written our list with, say, 3 things that we would like to reboot or restart or attract to us in the coming month. You may have more than things than that you want to put on your list. There may be some longer term projects. That's perfectly fine. There's no limit to how many things you can put on your list. All as I suggest to you is that you're going to need to write the list twice, and you're going to need to write it out every time that you light your candles in the next 5 days. So you might want to keep it a little bit on the points that are important, not necessarily a great long novel that you need to read out. So you would go to light your candle. As you're going to light your candle, you read your list out aloud. Then you pop your list underneath the candle. The candle always sits on a coaster. Never put your candle directly on a surface or a piece of furniture because the glass containers do get very hot. Even when the candle's new, the glass container can get very hot. And this is the reasons why I like to suggest to put it on a coaster. Then we don't have any scorching of furniture and things that are important to us. Also, too, it helps the glass container not crack. Sometimes with a change in atmospheric pressure, you can find the candle cracks. That's one of the reasons why I like to burn one wick one day and one the other day as well, because it's less chance of the candle cracking. Plus also I think it makes it more an economical burn. Then we need to sort of light our candle between about 15 minutes a day to 2 hours a day. Now that's the new moon candle. Now because we're working with also the new moon being in Libra, I would be burning my Libra candle. Now, this is the air sign candle out of the astrology range. Again, the same principle, 2-wick principle, lighting one side one day, one side the next day. Again, putting it on a coaster, lighting again for approximately 15 minutes. Now, bear in mind, these are flames and they can be dangerous. So I do not suggest under any circumstances do you leave your candle or candles unattended. Please never put them underneath fans, near curtains, under air conditioners, or where children and pets can get to them. You know, fire is dangerous. It burns. Many a house have burnt down because of people leaving a candle unattended. That's why I only suggest 15 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how much time you've got to sit with your candle or candles and babysit them. So for those of you that say, well, look, that's terrific, Amanda, but I want to take my candles to the office, I want to take them to work, I'm travelling, how can I still work with the moon energy? Then we have our travel kit. Now, this week, I've actually made the travel kit up of Libran candle on either side and the new moon in the middle. But because it's a travel kit, you can choose any 3 from the 27 candles that we have in our range. So it's entirely up to you. You might want to get a new moon, a full moon, and your star sign, or you might want a new moon, your star sign, and a love candle. It's entirely your choice. So bear in mind, these are great. These little candles only have 1 wick in them. They burn for about 15 hours. You can use the lid as a snuffer to put your candle out. Same principle apply. Write your list, put it underneath your candle, always on a coaster, and you need to burn both of them to get the maximum out of your new moon. If you're working with the new moon, you need to burn both energies if you have both of them to get the maximum out of that. For those of you that may not want to burn a candle but still want to work with the energy of the moon cycles and the soy wax, you can pick up yourself a melt warmer down at the local supermarket, your variety store. Here in Australia, around about $15. These are electric. Mine has a little button on the side. I work with these a lot because you're able to take half a teaspoon out of each of your candles, put them in the melt warmer. Yes, I mix the soy wax together, put half a teaspoon of my air sign or my Libran candle and half a teaspoon of my new moon wax in the melt warmer so that I'm working with both of them. Same principles apply. Read your list out aloud, pop the melt warmer on underneath the melt warmer, putting your melt warmer on a coaster, not the little scorcher furniture. I just think it's a good habit to get into. And that you can leave happily melting away and putting a lovely fragrance throughout the office or your home all day. It's a much safer alternative for those that don't wish to work with a candle. It's a personal choice. I personally sell a lot of candles around the world, and people sort of, alternate between, yes, they might only have 15 minutes to work with their candle with a flame, but then they continue that energy of what they're working with for the week by using their melt warmer as well. So it gives you the capabilities of both situations that you can work with both things at the one time. And I think that's really important. So for those of you that might be looking to purchase a candle, here in Australia, we can offer free postage. For our friends overseas, we can't. We can only offer you a flat postage fee. So if you want to purchase more than one, save your pennies up, do it all in one go. It'll be much, much cheaper with a flat rate of postage. Don't forget, when you're at the checkout, type in the word radio and you will get a discount for being part of the show. So we're going to move on to the other section of the show that we work with each week, where we feature a famous singer. At the moment, we're featuring famous singers as we're working our way through the zodiac. And this week, we're up to a female singer in Aquarius. It'll be really interesting in 3 weeks' time when we come to the end of our singers. We've been all the way around the zodiac, that we'll move on to another section. But this week, each week, I know I say I'm pleased to announce who I'm going to be talking about, that, they've made such an impact on music, and they all have, because I have tried to pick somebody each week that everybody should know or should have known of or whatever. Not all of them are passed over, thank goodness. And, most people might not necessarily know the person's name, but when you start to think of some of their songs or some of the things that, oh, yes, I remember them, yes, they were really good, or they're still really good. So this week I'm really pleased to announce our female Aquarian is no other than Carole King. Now, for a lot of people, they know the name and they think, where do I know that name from? Carole King is one of the most prolific songwriters on the planet. This woman has been such a great composer. She's written so many beautiful lyrics. She is a singer. She is a songwriter. But I think most importantly, she's known for her most famous album called Tapestry. Now, Tapestry has set a record that I think is yet to be broken of being in the American charts for 6 years. Now, that's a hell of a long time. I don't even think the Beatles or Elvis broke that record of 6 years in the chart, in the top 40 for 6 years, that album. What an amazing accomplishment. I mean, besides all the other accomplishments that she's gotten, there's just too many to mention. This woman has done it all. You know, she's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. She co-wrote many, many songs with many, many famous people. She's written many songs for some of the world's greatest artists. But I think one of her songs that really stands out to me that I think we can all relate to, and we should all maybe Google it and have a little sing-along, is You've Got a Friend. And I feel that that was one of her iconic songs that touched the heart of many, many people over the years, because it means so many different things to so many different people. So we salute you, Carole King. And, you know, she's well in her 70s now and still going strong, and still has her strong love for music and the passion for music. And it's easy to see when someone is natural towards something like music and composing and playing an instrument. Carole naturally was drawn to the piano at the age of 4 and started taking lessons then from her grandmother and other members of the family. But she must have shown a very natural aptitude, because I'm sure at 4 years of age I couldn't have even looked at a piano, let alone bashed out any keys that would have made music, that's for sure. But I'm not musically inclined. I just did appreciate music. But we all have a natural gift. So we're going to move the show along, because we're going to keep moving, and we're going to actually take our first caller, which is Sandy in Fresno, California. Are you there, Sandy?
I'm great. How are you?
Very well, sweetie. Do you have a question I can work with, darling?
Yes, I'm wondering if my daughter and I will ever have a good, honest relationship without hostility.
That's a really interesting question, Sandy, and I know there's going to be lots of other people out there that are asking the same question about their relationship with their daughter or son too. But let's take the message back to you and your daughter. Your daughter is very opinionated. Your daughter is very hot-headed, and at the moment she's got to do everything her way. So in the short term, I'm going to say no. But what I'm going to ask of you, Sandy, is to just let her do what she needs to do and rant and rave and do whatever it is, and just be there for her as her mum. She is a very strong young woman. I think given another 12 months, I think we're going to see a very different sort of relationship to what you've got now. She's always challenged you, even from a little child, I feel, you know, even from a 2-year-old. I think she was always questioning or challenging you. And this is, you know, as she's got bigger, the challenges have got bigger. And that's not saying that you weren't a good mum. You were. And what you've got to understand is sometimes I think we get given these daughters or sons because it's part of our journey of our soul to evolve and grow and to love our children unconditionally. We don't always have to like them. You know, we still love them, but we don't always have to like who they are and what they've become. But what you have to remember is that you gave your daughter every tool in her toolkit for her to be the best person that she can be. Just because she's chosen to ignore most of those and create her own tools is not your responsibility. She will learn, and she will probably learn the hard way, that she can't keep going through life demanding and expecting everybody to be as she wants them to be and not be responsible for her own actions. So I think she's got a couple of tough lessons coming up in this next 12 months, which you will probably not know about until after they're over. And maybe that's a good thing, because maybe it's one of those times where she's got to sit in her own mess and sort it out for herself. She can be very cruel, can't she, with some of her comments?
Okay.
Would you agree with that, Sandy, that sometimes she can be very cruel in the way that she speaks to you with some of her comments?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree. It's got these really cutting sort of comments and remarks that you'd almost want to walk up and slap her across the face and say, don't be so disrespectful. But that's just her. That will soften over time. She has a real anger inside of her, and I'm going to say that's got nothing to do with you, Sandy. It's something she has to work out. So did she have a good relationship with her dad?
It's about the same as it is with me. She's very angry and moody, and we're thinking she has a mental illness or is on drugs. She's very, very mean.
Yeah. Look, I wouldn't rule any of those things out. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I think we've got to look at everything. And, a mental or emotional illness is something that, people can develop for so many reasons. Sometimes they're born that way. Sometimes that's just the way that they are. And other times, yes, it is connected with drugs or alcohol or doing something silly, whether it's prescription drugs or illegal drugs. That's what I think. I think there's some issues here that are going to happen in this next 12 months that you and your husband will not be able to prevent from happening, but she needs to experience these. So what I want to sort of say to you is just be there for her. I mean, I don't think you and your husband have done anything wrong, and that's what I want to be very clear on. You couldn't have done anything better than what you've done for your daughter. It's now up to her. And, if you can remember that, remain strong together and knowing that you will eventually get this loving daughter that you should have always had. She is coming back. You haven't lost her completely. So even if there is some sort of illegal drug dependency at the moment, I feel that's going to be broken in this next 12 months. There's two things that are going to happen that are going to take her on a different path and a path that's better for the future. Okay? I hope that's helped you, Sandy.
Okay.
I'll be keeping you in my thoughts and prayers, sweetie. Okay, we're going to move on to Pusha in Quattro Coco in Mauritius. Are you there?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, how can I help you tonight?
I would like to have an insight in my career. Right now I'm not quite happy where I am. So I'd like to see if there's any change ahead.
Look, I do think that there's going to be a change ahead with the job, but I just don't think it's going to be quite as soon as what you'd like it to be, Pusher. It's sort of, to me, I don't feel it's sort of there much before the new year, unfortunately. So are you able to sort of try and hang in there till the new year? Because I feel if you can do that, then I feel that there will be an opportunity there for you to move into a much better paying job and a job that suits you better. Where you are at the moment, it's not that you can't do the work. I believe you can do it, quite comfortably. It's the people that are around you. It's sort of like you never know what sort of energy you're going to walk into for the day. Some days it's perfectly fine, and the next day it's chaotic. It's like everybody's been on red cordial or something. Nobody seems to be settled or comfortable or doing their job. They're all running around, and it's like, I don't know how much more of this I can handle. All I can suggest to you is try and keep yourself as calm as you can. Try and take no notice of anybody when you walk into work. If they're in that chaotic energy, can I suggest to you that you clasp your hands like that, put them between your breasts as you walk into work, and that'll bounce that negative energy off you as you walk into work. So if anybody's in a rotten mood or in an uncomfortable energy and they come up to have a conversation with you, do that, because it doesn't look like you've got your arms folded and you're not interested. It's just a way of protecting that energy coming into your heart centre. And if we can do that, I think we can keep you more calm, keep you more on an even keel, and then you're not going to be absorbing that negative, uncomfortable, erratic energy, so that you can then get on with your day job and get the job done. But I do feel that towards the early part of the new year, not far into January, there is a job change coming, more money, much more comfortable job, a job that you feel like you can get your teeth into, you can see opportunities, you can see that your life can start to go ahead. Has there been talk of maybe a change of residence coming up for you and the family?
Change of what?
Change of home. Have you been talking about either making changes in the home you're living in or moving?
We have a house ongoing in construction, but not yet completed.
Oh, right, okay. So you will be moving into that when it's finished?
Yes.
Yeah, and how far away is that from completion?
It's nearly 80% done. It's just that my husband also is working abroad at the moment, so not really looking into it, and I don't want to move alone.
Oh, no, I can understand that, but I was just sort of seeing around the time of you changing your job, around that same time of the year, there was going to be the move of home as well. So I'm not sure whether the move of home comes first and then the change of job, or the job and then the move. But it was all around the same time of the year. So And it's good because it's sort of like we start 2019 off in a really nice, positive sort of way. You know, you've moved into the new home, you've got a new job, things are a lot more comfortable than what they were. And I don't feel next year your husband will be going away as much to work. I feel that he's going to be home more. Work's going to be more local, which is good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything's on the right path. You've just got to be patient, sweetheart, and everything will slowly start to come together. But no, you haven't imagined the work situation. You haven't imagined people being, you know, like raving lunatics. They are. You've just got to try and keep yourself as calm as you can until it's time for the change next year, because there's no job there at the moment that I think is worth taking. Yeah. And that's the reasons why it's not going to come until early next year. Okay?
All right. Yes.
Thank you. Lovely to speak.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're nearly at the end of the show again now. It's been absolutely great to have your company again tonight. On next week's show, we will have our Simply Tarot card of the week. We'll have our little glimpse around the universe. And next week, we'll be talking about our famous male Pisces singer, whoever that might be. But I also want to sort of talk to you about, don't forget, with the new moon energy, it's never too late to start writing the things that you want to attract towards you. So we need to sort of put that on our little piece of paper. Use any candle you've got. If you don't have one of mine, any candle will do. Let's just set the intent, purpose and direction, because that's the important part. Until next week, bye for now.